What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Clone Zone, episode 15. I will be joined, as always, by Molly. She is having some technical difficulties figuring out her microphone or something. She'll be here shortly, I promise. I know everyone comes here for her and not me, but we do have a guest. He is our friend. He's also the movie trivia Schmodown Star Wars champion of the world or some kind of big deal. Andrew Dimalanta, welcome to the show.
Wait, what round are we in? Oh, wrong show?
Speed round, round, and we're doing all bad batch
wrong show.
today.
Sorry.
How's it going, bud?
Doing good. Been a long week, but glad to jump on.
How's the belt? It looks good. I miss it every day.
It's such a burden.
Yeah, it is heavy and awkward to hold.
Yeah, as you know, it is a burden.
So if you've never seen the show before, Andrew and I and Molly, when she gets here, are going to discuss today's very good episode for 20 or 30 minutes. And then we're going to take questions from all of you. If you want to get your questions in the queue, you can shoot a super chat. We already have a couple already. But Andrew, what did you think of today's episode? What have you thought of the series as a whole, first of all?
We were talking about this backstage of like, all the Filoni stuff, especially like the animated things. It's like it started off how it expected, like they hit you really hard with, Order 66 and you get in it. And then it's like all this other stuff that kind of leads back to the main story, but not really. And then they hit you with this like part 1 of 2 finale. I was like, oh, this is probably my favorite episode, minus the first one. But yeah, I really I'm liking the series. I like the feel of it. I like getting into like the transition from the Republic to the Empire and phasing clones out and stuff. That's really what piqued my interest in this show. And we're getting a lot of that to a degree, especially in this episode. So yeah. I was really glad to see like the commando, like old school commando helmets from the video game. I was like, oh man, I remember playing that. That's awesome. So yeah.
And today's for sure was a transition episode.
Oh yeah,
back on Kamino and everything. But yeah, it's a little bit everything. I love the sprinkling in of the commandos and restoring that lore that they were part of the training for the Stormtrooper Corps and all that. Super fun. So today was your favorite episode of the bunch, you think?
Yeah. I mean, the first episode I was like, oh, it can't get any better, like worse from here. It can't, you know what I mean. But then this one, I was like really got me the same feeling I got when we first started the season, because like I said, there was a couple episodes in between where like they were good, but like they weren't really giving me what I wanted. This one totally gave me everything I wanted. It's like, oh man, some throwbacks and bringing things into canon, and like giving me really everything that I liked, because we all know how Stormtroopers turn out. We all know that clone troopers should have been the thing. They should have stuck with the clones. They would have been better off. But yeah, I liked seeing that in this episode and transitioning and all that stuff.
And there she is.
Hey, the real reason everybody's here.
My giant headphones.
Molly, what did you think of today's episode?
It was a banger. I liked it a lot. Yeah, it was like the perfect part 1 of 2 parts for a finale, and I still don't know how I feel about Crosshair.
Oh man. I was Crosshair was my favorite when they debuted the Bad Batch. It's like, because I have a soft place for snipers, so I was like, oh, they gotta turn him back.
Oh, there you go. You're back. You're back.
My internet keeps dipping out in this room. I gotta get that fixed. AT&T.
Well, how did you feel about him today and the showdown back on Kamino and everything?
I think they were gonna eventually like get to this point of like him sort of like giving the real reason why he switched, and because I was like, maybe it is an inhibitor chip, but then because he got injured in this area, I believe, right? I think they're trying to hint at like that injury that he suffered on was why his inhibitor chip isn't working anymore, I guess. But like I fully expected them to bring him back to the group, because I'm imagining they'll bring him back for season 2. Now he's a part of them. Now he's on the run because he disobeyed orders and went against the Empire. So that's what I'm fully expecting. But it's like when they turned him, it's like that's not. He'll be back. He'll be back one way or another.
I need to go back and look, but I could have sworn at one point in this episode, after he revealed that he had his chip out, like you could see a little slit where kind of like
there's a point where Hunter stuns him and kind of like turns him over.
Yeah.
And I didn't go back and study that, but I kind of had that same thought. And because we're talking about it and it's perfect timing, when was Crosshair's chip removed, and where are all the clones? Thank you, Lawrence Fletcher. Also, when are we going to see Bly? You monster. Bly is dead. Bly is definitely dead right now.
He should be dead.
He's dead and gone.
Alex grabbed him and threw him out of cannon.
Bly never existed. When do you think they took his chip out? I'm gonna guess that it happened after Braca and after the injuries. That maybe maybe it was damaged. Maybe at that point he elected to have it taken out. But I'm gonna guess it was around that time.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that makes sense too, because that was a nasty injury that he suffered on that part. It's like, how did you survive that? Yeah, like that was some rough stuff that he went through. So that's what I'm guessing, is that maybe it got damaged. It's like, hey, well, we might as well take it out anyways because it's not working.
It definitely seems like that's a pattern where, I mean, Gregor has gone through a lot. So it seems like maybe his chip was damaged. And that's why in the War Mantle episode, he was able to be his own man. And then Wrecker, of course, took like 1 billion hits to the head before his chip finally went off. So I'm guessing that head trauma is no good for the chips.
Well, like in the War Mantle episode, it seems like almost like they wear off after a little while.
Maybe.
Or like someone else could be able to like shake you out of it a little easier as time goes on.
I do like that idea of like, once it's, because it doesn't stay active, so maybe it like wears down after the longer it goes, I guess. Because there's a couple other clones in the past episodes, like, why aren't they like just like the other clones, like following orders like the rest of them? And right, because usually when stuff like that happens, when they go against the grain, they'll have like that little trauma in their heads, like, oh, good soldiers follow orders. And there are a couple of clones that in these past episodes, so it's like they're going against everything. Mm-hmm. So what's going on? So maybe it is something to say that, like, once they get activated, it starts to deteriorate and just doesn't, there's no like, it wasn't like a long-term thing with them. It was just like, hey, the main focus of it was to get rid of the Jedi, and then it just fades off. So that might be something.
Yeah, I think
shoddy Kaminoan craftsmanship. Like, they did great on the clones. They kind of half-assed it on the chip.
Yeah, we're cloners. We're not chip manufacturers. Yeah. But it makes sense, because it seems like the plan was always to phase out clones and bring in loyal volunteers. Mm-hmm. So it's not like the chips had to last forever. And yeah, Brett Baumler brought up Hauser. Hopefully he's fine. But yeah, Hauser was able to get through to a bunch of regs.
Yeah.
So it does seem like something that could just wear off over time. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that keeps playing out. Because we know we're getting a season 2 now. I really want them to continue like building their own like little clone army, little clone family, continue to help clones who need it.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever Cut is, I'm convinced that there's a planet where all the clones are going to go and live out the rest of their days just happily.
They all get sent to a farm, but a real one. Like,
yeah.
What was your reaction when I like hearing that Crosshair was your favorite because Molly loves tech, I love Wrecker, so we got a lot of variety here.
Yeah,
but
people keep saying like, oh, Hunter's got to be your favorite, right? It's like, no, no. I mean, he's cool, but like, yeah, Crosshair is like, like I said, like snipers have like a little like soft spot in my heart because gaming and all that stuff. I try to snipe. I'm terrible at it, but I try my best to snipe. But yeah, he was always that one guy, like, because also he was that one, like sort of the rogue out of the group. That like he's snippy and he like talks back to his superiors and he gives Rex all the trouble in the world. So yeah, I was like, oh man, that's pretty cool for a character. Just like he's obviously good. He does what's good for the mission, but he still has he has to get his 2 cents in every once in a while. So that was something that stood out to me.
This was the most I've liked him ever. I thought he was making, outside of the fascism, I thought he made some great points, like just the personal relationships that he has with his brothers of like, you just left me and you didn't give me a chance. You just left. And I was like, they did. And the idea that he caught Hunter while Hunter was rescuing some random clone he'd never met, but he didn't do the same thing for Crosshair. I'm like, yeah, that's a great point, dude.
That's a great parallel because like they didn't even think twice. Oh, it's an inhibitor chip, so let's leave him behind. So that's a great parallel. I didn't really pick up on that until you just said it. So yeah.
And it's true that they know what the inhibitor chips can do. Wrecker firsthand is like, I had no control over myself. I couldn't stop anything. And they didn't ever go back for Crosshair. They just never even tried. So I am wondering if he's just like, did they even care about me at all ever? Was I too much of a jerk? Or
Crosshair
He
became like the middle child, and Omega became the youngest sibling, and he's just like pouting like, everybody cares about Omega and I forgot about me.
I know fully about that being a middle child, so yeah. Maybe that's why I like Crosshair so much.
And he was, with the second he had a chance, he was like, aim for the kid. He was like, get my replacement out of here.
Yeah.
Oh man. That whole sequence in the training room,
that was amazing.
Was so good. When I'm a huge sucker for the bad guys and the good guys teaming up against a common enemy. I love that trope. So when it started happening, but not only that, the Bad Batch theme kicked in better than we've ever heard it. That just like sent me over the top. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, I was watching back to our reaction on Patreon, and like our eyes just glazed over, and we're like, yeah, it's happening.
I remember like when they saw the reflectors on the thing, I was like, oh, everybody else knows what's going on except the idiots that are in the room. It's like,
I forgot what they were.
Yeah. I did too. I thought it was like a bomb or something, but then when he goes to like shoot it, I was like, oh my god, he did the thing.
So cool too. It's so cool.
And he didn't use them in the Bad Batch at all. I don't.
Yeah, he used it in Clone Wars.
Yeah,
so it's like
such a callback to last
such a
year.
Throwback. That's like people forgot what it's used for, and it's like, oh, he's gonna do the thing again. He's gonna do the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. It gave me real Last Jedi vibes. Just the setup of them all just talking in this room, and like, is he gonna go good? Is he gonna go bad? Instead of killing Snoke, he kills his fellow Imperial troopers, and it's like he just can't quite get all the way there. But I was really rooting for him.
Yeah.
Where do you think we're gonna head with Crosshair next season? Do you think he's gonna survive next week? We should start there, I guess.
I mean, I think he might. I mean, he has to. If they are gonna, I would hate for it to be like a cop out because like, oh, one of them has to die. One of them has to die at the end of the first season. And I would hate for him to be a cop out and like, oh well, Crosshair was already bad anyway, so let's just kill him off. I would like to see him survive into season 2 and have like a major conflict of next season is convincing him that he's wrong and convincing that he needs to help. Like, well, we didn't help you, so help us help our other brothers, and we'll make amends that way. So I really hope they don't kill him off just because it's the easy thing to do. But yeah, I would like to see that.
I feel exactly the same. But Molly,
I don't actively hope that they're going to kill him off, but it seems a little like the obvious thing for Star Wars to do. So it's a
Star Wars thing to do for sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of like setting myself up for that to happen. Somewhere along the way, everyone has now coined me as the one that wants Crosshair to die, but I just think it might happen. I don't know. If it does happen, I hope it doesn't happen with him like doing it to save Omega, because that wouldn't make any sense. Like it would have to be him doing it to save his brothers, to save the rest of the Bad Batch.
Yeah, and I can see them doing that because the whole like it's like a Last Jedi parallel with Ben Solo of like he did all the wrong things up until the point where it really counts. So I can see them doing that, but I don't want them to do that. It's kind of like when I remember us talking about how, or you guys talking on your channel about how if they were to redeem Ben Solo, you want him out around the galaxy to pay for all his crimes. Kind of want to see that with Crosshair. Just like make amends for all the wrongdoing, and for both parties to make amends for all the wrongdoing in the next season. I think that'd be a very interesting storyline for season 2.
Exactly.
He's gonna have to clean Sid's bar for like a whole year. That's his punishment.
Wash some dishes. Yeah. See, that's always the thing where I don't know what that looks like in Star Wars. I don't know how it is the easy thing to just kill Kylo Ren after he redeems himself. I get it, but I would love to just see someone try. So that's why I'm like, yes, Crosshair survives, and we see him try to right some of his wrongs, not wrong any rights.
Yeah.
That would be so much more interesting to me. But I am terrified that Hunter's gonna die. I hope all of them make it, but so much of this episode was about them connecting and talking and finding a little bit of common ground. And I can see Hunter just being like sacrificing himself to save Crosshair and being like, I'm giving you your chance. And I'm like, that would hurt so bad.
That'd be such like a Lord of the Rings thing to do. Like season 1, Ned dies. Spoiler alert, sorry if anybody's haven't seen it. But that'd be such a left turn. I think that would be, if you want to make a big call, do that, because Hunter's basically the main character of the show almost, because almost everything that they do is driven by his decisions, and he's always the one calling the shots. And to have that would be fantastic to see in season 2. Like the guy that was there to lead us is no longer here. So what do we do? That'd be great.
That would be so hard on poor Omega.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was like thinking about that. And as I was thinking about it, I was like gathering images for the review, and it was a shot of her hugging him after getting him back. I was like, no, like, I don't want them to do that. I want them all to survive, but I can really see that. And I think it would make for a really, really good story, really different story for Star Wars. There's a thing I always come back to in those improv lessons that I took. They say, they teach you, how do you make this worse? So like in the sense that, how do you throw more and more chaos into whatever scene you're doing? And I'm like, that is chaotic, and it's worse, but it's interesting.
Yeah. It would actually kind of stick to sort of like themes of Star Wars, like the father figure of the new, like the mentor father figure always dies. So I think that might stick to a Star Wars trope of, Hunter has been this amazing mentor to Omega, and he has to sacrifice himself for her to continue. So I think that it would be a nice little monkey wrench to throw into for us emotionally, but it would sort of still stick to the overall tropes of Star Wars, like we always see in like pretty much everything that we read and watch.
Alex, you're making people cry.
I'm sorry. I'm just throwing out guesses, but a criticism I keep seeing about this show is that most of the characters haven't gotten a ton of character development, and I think that's totally fair. And I'm wondering if that's because season 1 was very Hunter centric, and then season 2, it's like, okay, what do we do without him? So I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I do.
Okay, it's kind of hard because when you already have like established characters within the universe itself, like you only have like this, this little small hole we're looking through in the lens of Star Wars. At this point in the universe, we don't have that luxury of knowing these characters prior to this little lens that we're looking through. So if you don't have the time to go back, like within the comic book or a novel or another TV show, to do that, it is a complaint. It's like, where's the character development? And I think that Hunter dying thing might introduce something that's like, well, now again we have to course correct our crew because now our leader's gone. So I think that'd be fun to see and to explore.
I wonder if in season 2 we get kind of like a Wizard of Oz theme where like Tech gets a heart and Wrecker gets a brain.
Oh my god!
Like if they lose
amazing.
Hunter, they lose like the best of them, I guess, and so they all have to work together to better themselves so they can make up for the loss of Hunter.
Exactly. Hunter's the most well-rounded. Like Echo doesn't need courage. Maybe Gonki can get courage. I also hope AZ3 gets to stick around.
I did too. I was so happy when he popped up on the screen. I was yes, he survived.
You freak out over droids. You love the droids.
I do.
Cad Bane, Toto 360.
Love that episode. I love that. That's one thing about Filoni that I do appreciate is his ability to bring in familiar things from other properties and sort of weave them in in ways that make sense. It's not just fan service. It's like, oh hey, remember this cool character from this episode of Clone Wars? Here you go. It's like, well, it doesn't make sense. Like the Cad Bane thing makes sense.
I totally agree.
It's awesome. Bane. That's the one thing that I think Filoni does very well is like we have all these characters in Star Wars. We need somebody to fill this role. We could bring in a new character just to kill them off, but like, where's the fun in that? Let's bring somebody in that we already know that fills that role and makes sense for them to be there at that point. So that's the one thing I really enjoyed about the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of familiar characters, do we think we're going to see any next episode? Will Finnick Shand return? Will Cad Bane return? How are they going to get out of this bucket of syrup? Because Kamino is burning.
I really want to see the bounty hunters come back. I don't know like how that's going to work, but I really liked the idea that the Kaminoans were hiring bounty hunters like kind of behind each other's back. I hope we get to see more of Finnick Shand, but I'm not really sure how yet. Maybe she's still in contact with Nala Se, although Nala Se is with the Empire now doing God knows what. I don't know.
I mean, you'd have to bring Rex back, right? I mean, he's that. I think that might be the only thing that happens. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I try not to speculate too much on things that would happen because expectations. I try to keep my expectations like at a minimum, just so I don't get disappointed when the thing I wanted to happen didn't happen. Star Wars, right? But yeah, I don't know. I think the thing that makes most sense to me, at least, to be bring Rex back because they risk a lot going to save his guy, so we gotta pay back the favor type of thing.
Oh yeah, Brian brings up what I said last week. Boba could show up with Finnick because I love the idea of the two of them, like they already know each other a little bit somehow. And Rex will come in to help probably.
See, I think Finnick Shand does make sense to come back if they need a lift off of maybe the Havoc Marauder is destroyed and they need some way off of Kamino, and Finnick Shand shows up because Omega or Nala Se is all about protecting Omega, so she could swoop in. Rex does also feel likely if we're just following kind of the Star Wars Rebels approach, but that's how I made my guesses last week, and I was wrong because I thought I did not think this was going to be like part 1 of 2. I thought this was going to be like, all right, let's formulate a plan and put together a team, and then we'll go. And I love that they didn't do that.
Yeah,
they're like, we are the team. Let's do this. So I think maybe.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think that maybe they were purposefully playing off of some Star Wars animation tropes to throw us off. So I'm trying to expect the unexpected.
We've a lot about it being similar to Mandalorian. I think if their ship, Stuart brings up a good point. If their ship gets blown up, we already lost the Razor Crest. I don't want them to lose.
Yeah, I was really disappointed when that happens. Like, come on, man, it's such a cool looking ship, and it's starting to become as iconic as certain other ships in Star Wars, and you just blow it up.
Yeah,
come on.
That was tragic.
I gasped.
Yeah.
But Omega would lose her cool room that Wrecker made for her.
I guess they just need to get back on that little subway system, the tube system, and get back to the Havoc Marauder. And that'll probably be all right. But did anyone else get a little bit emotional seeing Kamino destroyed? I'm actually surprised at how sad it made me.
Yeah, those shots of like the empty rooms, which at least everybody's out of there, or hopefully everybody is. But yeah, it was like the end of an era.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal too, because the Kaminoans can get axed like that by the Empire. Like nobody in the galaxy is safe, and I think that really puts a stamp on it. Like, oh, it doesn't matter how loyal you were to the old Republic. This is a new reign, so it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you say. Things are going to go the way that we want them to. So
I wanted to pull up Stuart's comment, but I'm sorry, Marissa, but I wanted to bring this up that. Clone troopers on those Venator Star Destroyers had to open fire on their home. It's like they've been protecting it throughout the Clone Wars. There were episodes about that, and now they're just like, blow it up. And they have to do it. That sucks.
Yeah. That's another certain point of view novel that you can just write
oh, yeah. But that last week, I was like, I want to go back to Kamino, and I want to see it empty. I want to see this and that. And then I got it all, and I was like, I take it back. This hurts. This is bad.
I just realized my last name is Dimalanta. Oops. Spelling. You even messed up spelling my last name.
Well, we ready to move on to some super chats and chat questions?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Got one from Matt McDonald. Thank you, Matt. Kamino. They said. Gonna miss the planet, but what a send-off. Would love a sequel era story one day where we visit the underwater remains of the facility. Yeah,
That's
that
a
would be
great
cool.
idea.
Yeah, maybe there's like some hidden treasure or information that didn't get wiped. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've already got some building blocks here in The Mandalorian to do exactly that. We have Dr. Pershing with his Kamino patch. We've got the creepy clones in season 2. Maybe they go there.
I
I
said
would
like a
love
while
that.
ago.
That'd be cool.
I said a while ago that it would be cool if Mando had to go to like whatever is left of Kamino. I guess now it's underwater to like find something out about cloning stuff. So
Mando or maybe Boba Fett go home.
yeah,
And if
Ooh.
Fennec Shand saves them in next week's episode, she'll be like, "Oh, I've been there. I can take you. I know exactly where that underwater
Huh.
city is."
Connections, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, knowing how far animation is done in advance, I could see it being possible. I think it's a long shot. I'm a sucker for ruins and stuff like that, so I really want them to go scuba diving in sunken Kamino. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and I think underwater stuff is like almost never really touched on in Star Wars. Like, I mean, we had Mon Cala in the Clone Wars, but I mean, I could be wrong that we don't really ever go like underwater that much. I think that'd be a fun little like journey for Star Wars characters.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
I would love to go to Otogunga again. Just see that pop up in another story, but
They'll get all the Gungan army from the Mon Cala episodes to be like, let's go to freaking Kamino. But it reminds me of the Force Awakens concept art, and then they kind of adapted it for The Rise of Skywalker, where we're going to the Death Star ruins, but initially it was underwater, which I always loved that idea.
mm-hmm.
Paco San Miguel, thanks for the super chat and question. Whatever happened with Cody? Last time I saw him, he was trying to shoot Obi-Wan. Could he appear in the Bad Batch?
Oh, yeah. We never really got confirmation what happened to Cody, right?
Yeah. I hope so. I hope he pops up.
Yeah, we've heard rumors about him being in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So maybe they're saving him for live action. But I mean, he could certainly pop up in season 2.
It's the same thing as when Rex appeared in Star Wars Rebels. Immediately everyone was like, Rex versus Cody, let's go. And it never happened. So I'm kind of hoping it happens this time. And they're still doing some of that stuff with the clone commandos coming in to train Imperial stormtroopers. Like that was from Legends. And Cody trained stormtroopers. So I kind of want them to keep him as I'm an Imperial clone trooper and I'm staying here. But maybe they still try to rescue him and he just says no. And he could even be like a cautionary tale for Crosshair in season 2 if things go that direction.
Yeah, I could see that happening. That'd be cool.
But yeah, I really hope we get some answers on Cody.
Yeah. Nerdy Seb, thanks for the super chat. Prediction: clones get transported to the other cloning facility and will be a base for season 2. There, they'll help clones with chips and a rebellion. So maybe we get our clone rebellion after all.
I think something's going to happen there. But we were talking about this a little earlier today, but Rex seems like he's pretty involved in things right now. And in Star Wars Rebels, he's not. It very well could be that they just didn't have his whole story mapped out when they did Rebels because the Bad Batch probably wasn't even on the horizon. But I still think there's probably some event that causes him to just retire and go into hiding, basically. And a failed clone rebellion seems like it would do it.
Yeah, I mean, that would be cool to see. Like, oh, one last mission, save our brothers, and it just doesn't go their way. I mean, because there's always something in Star Wars, like everything always goes, our way, and we finally get what we need. But like, it'd be nice to see a mission like we saw in Rise of Skywalker with the failed mission with Canto Bight, which discussions are, whatever. But yeah, I'd like to see that. I'm far more interested in seeing what happened to Cody. When somebody said about Cody, I was like, oh man, that's right, Cody is still around.
Well, I think it fits within this era to have missions fail. It's called The Dark Times by Obi-Wan. So like we should have some failures here. The Empire should be this big, like insurmountable evil that has to be overcome 20 years after it's created.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to see a bunch of clones die. They're already going through so much.
I know.
Dr. Holocron, thanks for the super chat. Crosshair taking out Elite Squad and teaming up with the Bad Batch before betraying them again was very reminiscent of the Throne Room in The Last Jedi. Yeah, well, did he didn't betray them again. It was just that he did the same thing as Kylo Ren of like, join me. Let's go to the Empire. The Empire's the way to go. And they're like, no.
Yeah, he's like, I don't have my chip, but I'm still like on board with this Empire thing. And he even goes so far as to be like, we're soldiers. That's what we were meant to do. We can be that again with the Empire. And Ron Hunter's like, pass.
I wonder if like there's any like lingering effects from his chip being removed. I'm not sure, like because like we said, we were talking about it earlier, like maybe the chip it only has like a certain lifespan. Maybe it has the same thing, like lingering effects. Like it's like this is a thing that was incepted in my head, so I have to believe it, and then it sort of starts to wear off further down the line. Maybe that might happen with him.
He's got Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. Well, I think that Crosshair's just looking for acceptance. He just wanted to be back with his family. And in this episode, he wanted to bring his family to where he is and not go to where they are. But I think that the Empire showed him acceptance when he needed it. And so I think it is a little bit of Stockholm syndrome in that sense.
Oops. Yeah. That was intense.
Oh, that's like...
Yeah,
Molly like hit her face in her hands, and
I was like, "Oh my god!"
Saying like, "I took my chips out some time ago." I was like, "Oh no!" Which shout out to Rick Villanueva, our guest last week, called that, and we were like, "That's a terrible idea." Like, it's not a bad idea. It would just be gut wrenching, and then that happened.
Yep. Sorry. Oh, it's not highlighted. Ice Fisher Tenacity, thanks for the super chat. How do clones age? Is Omega their older sister? Oh yeah, because she says she was there when they were created. That was a cool little moment too in the show.
Which I loved. I mean, that was another reason I wanted to go back to Kamino, was just Omega's resistance to ever going back, and the fact that she did it, like they addressed how uncomfortable she was, but she's like, it doesn't matter, we're going to get Hunter. I was like, hell yeah. I love this.
Yeah, I guess she doesn't have the double aging stuff.
No, she does not. One of the episode guides confirmed it. It suggested that she had no chip and no advanced aging. So I do think that she was born before them.
Have we confirmed that the aging only happens while, like, is it like something that's permanent or something that has to continually be done to them? Have we confirmed that yet?
I would say no. In Legends, it was permanent. And I think that the way Rex and Wolf and Gregor look in Star Wars Rebels, it's probably permanent. But
yeah,
I'm not. I think they could wave it away if they wanted to. I don't think they've said for sure, like, oh, they're going to have like a 40-year lifespan instead of 80 or whatever it is. And you see, in a galaxy far, far away, the human lifespan could be 120 years, like on average. Who knows?
Yeah, the clones are around for as long as we need them to be. As long as the story needs them to be.
Well, that seems to be the rule for most characters nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, Bo-Katan's like 50 something. She looks great.
Yeah. She's killing it.
There's a will, there's a way.
Yep. I feel like age is just something that they're like, we're willing to fudge that.
Time moves differently in Star Wars, depending on
Exactly.
what star you're orbiting.
Well, in hyperspace, light speed, that's theory of relativity. There's something about aging.
Yeah.
Anytime you're in hyperspace, it like slows your aging down. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Matthew Flisher, thank you for the question. What if Nala Se was working with the Kaminoan scientist in The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2?
Oh, that would be bonkers if we saw like a live action Kaminoan. If she were like still around.
I'm gonna guess no, only because it seems like the Empire is having trouble with cloning. And I love the idea that they're having trouble with cloning because they wiped out Kamino because they're idiots and they couldn't just work with them. They're like, no, we don't need you anymore, and we're gonna kill you all because we're the Empire.
That's what kind of bothered me.
Crap, we needed you.
Yeah, it kind of bothered me about Tarkin in the first episode. It's like Tarkin's way smarter than this. Why is he like so quick to dismiss the clones when he knows it's like maybe and they always throw on the idea of like, oh, it costs so much for us to keep clones up, so maybe it's like, yeah, it makes financial sense to recruit people rather than create people. So I don't know.
I see Tarkin as having a pretty one-track mind, and he's probably already obsessed with the Death Star at that point.
Yeah, that's probably true.
He's like, let's cut any program that is going to get in the way of the Death Star. Like he put all his eggs in that basket.
Yeah, they're all about the loyalty. They think that recruiting people will allow them to create more loyal soldiers.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, that was just like just thinking about that made me laugh a bit. It's like, oh, something so loyal, but like the clones that were serving like these Jedi for like so many years instantly switched on them. It's like, well, we obviously know where their loyalty lies.
Yeah.
So that's just one of those funny things that just popped in my head. I was like, wow, loyalty, but they did, betray somebody they were always so loyal to. So I don't know.
I do wish that there were a little bit more of that. Like when we saw Hauser and his chip maybe fail and he convinced other clones to join him. I kind of wish that were brought up a little more, just to be like, nope, we definitely have to go in on this war mantle thing. It's stormtroopers. The chips aren't working the way we thought. Like, clones are done. I kind of wish that they had brought that up. For now, it's just in my head canon, but
it's always season 2.
Yeah. I do want to, real quick, because we were talking about Kaminoans, I do wish we also got just a little bit more of the, conspiracy that Lama Su seemed to be working on. He seemed to have plans and stuff, and then he just got killed off. And I'm like, oh, what were his plans? Again, maybe in season 2. Maybe he's got like Palpatine levels of things that'll happen after his death, but I doubt it.
Contingency plans. Yeah.
Did he get killed in this episode though? Because I kind of seen it as like the whole Game of Thrones rule. We didn't see them get killed. Maybe they can always leave the door open. It's like he's still in prison somewhere or something like that. I don't know.
I was watching the Star Wars show, and I remember Kristen Bavers said like something about the end of Lama Su or the end of his reign or something like that. So I took that as like he's probably gone. But yeah, if they're gonna like take a flamethrower to innocent people, why didn't they show them killing Lama Su?
I was expecting doors closed, blaster shots.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting too.
And yeah, we didn't get that. I'm still gonna assume he's gone, but you never know.
Surprise!
You know what? He's probably got clones of himself out there.
Oh,
maybe.
There we go.
That was a Legends thing, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, kind of. The Kaminoans were going to go extinct, and so they had to clone themselves, and that's how they got good at it. That would be interesting if they started to like repopulate the Borovio place and clone themselves again.
Yeah. Let's see. Aimless Streamer.
Fair point.
Remember our free time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Aimless Dreamer, thanks so much for the generous super chat. Do you think they'll address that a big part of this episode was Crosshair addressing his abandonment by the Bad Batch and his found purpose with the Empire, which was followed by his abandonment by the Empire? Yeah, he's getting tossed around a lot.
I mean, I feel like Crosshair is going to be a step behind the rest of them. I'm just going to assume he survives to season 2 because he should. Mm-hmm. And yeah, to be dealing with being abandoned by the Empire, but also not quite fitting in with his brothers still. I think that's a really interesting place for him to be. Oh my God, it's kind of like Ted Lasso.
It all comes back to Ted Lasso.
Yeah, in today's Ted Lasso, Jamie Tart comes back to the team and he has to find acceptance again after being a jerk to them all last season. So yeah, Ted Lasso and Star Wars are the same thing.
I mean, I could see it in season 2, because Crosshair only has this what only the Empire has shown him, like, oh, this is what we're doing for the galaxy. But like, the Bad Batch has been out there like seeing what really the Empire does about to all citizens and stuff. So maybe next season be like, see, this is what they're doing. You want to be a part of this? So that could be something that they explore as they try to mend fences within their brotherhood. So that'd be fun to see.
Yeah. And I do like that Crosshair has this air of superiority and that he's like, we are strong. We should be with the Empire, who value strength, because they do. They value like strength and ruthlessness above all else. So I like that he found acceptance there, but I really want them to be able to show him that it's wrong and why.
I just wanted to bring this up, and it would be Det Solasso. That would be his name.
Where's the apostrophe go?
It would be D''ET.
Okay.
SA. What did I say? SASOL. I'm trying to mix up the letters.
Cassia Pidgip. Sorry for probably mispronouncing your name, but thank you for the super chat. Do you think the Empire lied to Crosshair about removing the chip? There was no scars, so maybe they amped the chip up and said that's them removing it. I don't get the sense that there's any anyone's trying to play games with us in the writing or Crosshair with the Bad Batch. I'm taking him at face value right now. I think that his chip is out because I think that's the worst thing for the story, the harder thing to hear.
Yeah, that was like the big climax of this episode was finding that out. I don't think that they would turn out in the next episode to be like, just kidding. Still in there.
That would be a terrible turn of oh, you thought one thing and then the other, but I don't think that's how the Empire's thinking that far ahead, because their contingency plan with him was, all right, just kill him. We don't. He's not following orders. Just kill him. So I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I wish he would realize the Empire doesn't appreciate him. He's disposable, just like every other clone. So
they care about you as long as you're useful. Mm-hmm. And then that's it.
Yep. Demon Lord Illidan, thanks for the super chat. I'm sure Mando will get a new and extra shiny ship in season 2, or even Book of Boba. In fact, Boba should have more than one slave ship. Salve ship?
It was the Slave 2 and Slave 3.
Yeah.
But I hated the Slave 2. It's a boxy mess. It's nothing compared to the Slave 1. Shows up in Dark Empire, and I was like, that's dumb.
Do we think Mando's going to get a brand new ship?
We're going off the rails here.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be based with Bo-Katan and Casca and other Mandalorians on the cruiser that they commandeered.
Yeah, no need to go anywhere.
Give him a gauntlet. Give him a Mandalorian fighter.
Yeah.
There you go. Bring him into the fold. But should Boba have I don't want. Keep the current ship. Keep the Slave 2 out of here. The Slave 3 was never pictured as far as I can recall, so it might look awesome, but I'll die on the hill that the Slave 2 is garbage. Ice, thanks for the super chat. I feel sorry for Crosshair feeling left behind, but he's also the one who said he had no issue leaving another clone behind in their arc in the Clone Wars with no chip affecting him, so I keep bumping on that. I mean,
That's
yeah,
true.
like Crosshair's always been the jerk of the group.
Mm-hmm.
He is kind of a grump.
It's all a front, right? That's usually how it is. Like the guy that it always like has the most to say is the one that is the most offended, or however it goes. So, yeah,
Yeah. To bring it back to Ted Lasso, he's like Roy. He's really grumpy and angry, but it's probably got a heart of gold somewhere under there.
We'll find it. Oh shoot, I had something that I wanted to say. It fell out of my head. Well, I forgot. Dang it.
Okay.
Oh, no, I remembered.
Okay.
Because I saw someone earlier talk about Crosshair's line of like, does it matter when I took the chip out? And I'm like, I mean, kind of.
yeah.
Did you get it taken out before you executed those people, like in season or episode 3, or after? Because that is important.
Yeah.
Did you get the chip taken out before you told your soldiers to shoot Omega, or after? Because like that's my whole. I'm very on board with Crosshair's redemption, but I've been under the impression that the chip has been responsible for most of his bad behavior. Even if it's not, I'm still kind of on board with it, because that Star Wars is about redemption and everything, and like Vader did far worse stuff and he got redemption, so Crosshair should be on the table as well. But I'll be less so if he had the chip taken out like immediately and was still awful.
Yeah, I do always think about that when people bring up his redemption. I'm like, I don't know, he's done some pretty bad stuff. But you're right, Vader did too, but we can't go back in time and change the original trilogy, so.
Everyone who's been redeemed in Star Wars has done far worse stuff. Anytime anyone was like, no, Crosshair doesn't deserve redemption, I'm like, are you crazy? If Vader deserves it, then so does he. Well, maybe not deserve, but if he gets it.
Yeah, he'll have to work for it. Lunatic Vision, thanks so much for the super chat. What if that one janitor clone wasn't evacuated? 99?
Didn't he die?
Well, yeah, he's already dead.
Or maybe they're just talking
hero.
about like one random clone didn't get evacuated.
Oh, the one that nobody cares about. Oh no.
Cleaning up somebody's mess.
It's awfully quiet today.
Yeah. Where is everybody?
That feels like a Robot Chicken sketch.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'll just keep cleaning. Just explosions in the background. But I assume you're talking about 99, and unfortunately he passed away in season 3 of the Clone Wars.
Not before he got a medal, though.
Yeah, he died a hero.
Yeah.
In combat the way he wanted. Jane Dalton, thanks so much for the super chat. Do y'all think that future seasons might start skipping ahead a few years, like 10 or even 20? Whoa.
I did have a thought, because I saw Jane's super chat pop up in the chat. I was like, oh yeah, we could get a little time jump between season 1 and 2. Although that would only work if we got some kind of resolution with Crosshair in the next episode.
It's definitely like, it depends on what happens next episode. Because if Crosshair survives, I'm like, do not time jump. I want to know what happens immediately after.
Yeah.
I could see a time jump, like if the second season is the last of this show, like I could see them doing something like Rebels, like doing a time jump at the end, because I would love to see Omega like grown up a little bit.
Oh yeah, that'd be
That would
great.
be cool.
Isn't Mando getting jumped a couple of years too?
I don't know.
Like, I heard somewhere that it's going to be like 3-4 years or something like that. That it's going to be this giant jump, and there's just going to be a gap in between the seasons. I'm not sure where I saw that, but
I had not heard that. But I mean, maybe, especially. Never mind. I won't get into that.
2 to 3 years of Din and oh my god, I just forgot her name.
Bo-Katan? She's right to your left. Just look over your shoulder and got the cardboard cutout.
It's just 3 years of Din and Bo-Katan playing tug of war with the Darksaber. Like, I don't want it, you take it. No, I don't want it, you take it.
Meanwhile, Din is also weeping, just missing Grogu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to see that a jump, because like when you know, what was it? I can't remember between which episodes of Rebels or seasons of Rebels was when, like, you know, Ezra comes back and he's like doing all these flips of the lightsaber. It's a brand new lightsaber. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Like, what happened? So I would like to see that. That'd be cool to see Omega like just headshotting like fools, like not even looking with her bow and arrow. That'd be awesome.
She's got the hunter headband on.
Yeah.
She's got
Metal Gear Solid with it, just like, oh, like my mentor.
Oh my god, I kind of love that idea.
Wrecker's helmet. Oh, she's got little bits and pieces of all their armor.
Yeah,
that'd be so badass.
Oh no! So everyone's been like, when is Omega gonna get armor? What if Hunter does die and she takes his armor?
Oh, that'd be such a gut punch.
She's gonna outlive all of them, and like she's just gonna have a mishmash of all of their armor.
I mean, I kind of dig that. See, I don't think I want to time jump between seasons 1 and 2, but if after season 2 everything is resolved, everyone is good with each other, if they jump to the rebellion era and we just followed the Bad Batch during that time, I'm kind of into it.
Oof.
I like that idea.
Yeah, but then you have to, like, how do you end it though? Because like, where are they during the original trilogy?
Yeah.
So, it can't end well for them. I mean, either way, this can't end well for any of them.
Well, that's always the thing that we say. And
and they find a way.
People said it about Ahsoka. People said it about Ezra and Kanan. They were right about Kanan. But
I love Echo's arm.
Oh
no! I need to hack. I need to slice into this thing. Just
yeah.
Holding it.
I like that. Bill Rudd, thanks so much for the super chat. Could the Empire send the remaining clones somewhere like Geonosis to battle the locals and thin down their numbers? I don't see why not. I mean,
that sounds like a Tarkin thing to do, right?
Yeah. Just like cannon fodder. Let's just get rid of these. But they'll do something useful while they die. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely interested to see, and I think we'll obviously keep doing this in season 2, but yeah, seeing more of the clones phased out and more of the TK troopers, which I really dig, but also when are Star Destroyers going to come in and when are TIE Fighters going to come in, and seeing that keep on creeping into the story. I'm excited for that kind of stuff.
I don't know if any of you guys have discussed this at all on previous shows, but like, it always kind of bothered me how, like, you know, especially in this past couple episodes, like the TK troopers are shooting at them with live rounds and they keep stunning them. It's like, they're not clones, right? Yeah. Why do you keep stunning them for? So I don't know. That just popped in my head for some reason. I don't know if you guys think that.
Well, I think I just got used to that from Rebels. Rebels did basically the same thing, where it's like, no, we're the heroes and we stun people. We don't kill them needlessly. That's what Chopper's for.
But then it's totally cool to jump into Starfire and blow them out of the sky, right? That's
right.
Completely different.
I do think it's just one of those like animated show things where we're trying to separate the heroes from the villains, but just pretend they're shooting them with not stun rounds. Same basic thing happens. They're just sleeping. Daryl Unfiction, thanks for the super chat. Do you think Ensign Piet and crew of the Starkiller will be in the next season? RIP for the Gonki, maybe there. Gonki lives. Gonki was there. I was very relieved to see that Gonki is still fine after being electrocuted.
He's still on the ship, right? So that's another reason why the ship has to survive. Because
that's true.
Yeah, that ship was really far out though, too. Like, it was in the distance. So
but that'd be cool. Like, knowing Tech, he's got like an autopilot thing on his little data pad, and he can just like boop, and it'll come in.
Gonki flies the ship to. That's who rescues the next episode. And it's not Rex. Gonki.
Gonky
we
to the
thought his big
rescue.
hero moment was in War Mantle. His big hero moment is next week.
Yeah.
I'm imagining Gonky like being thrown away from an explosion, his little legs kicking. Like, will Piet be in an episode?
I mean, how old would he be?
I think he's old enough that it's possible if he were, an ensign, but
maybe
I'm not expecting it.
I don't know.
I'm curious when we'll see Yularen again, because there's a big
that's
change.
A great one.
That's a big change from when he's in the the Republic to the Empire. So that
is a great inclusion. They should bring up.
Oh, but then Tom Kane. Oh,
yeah. But
I have always wondered.
Yeah,
I have always wondered if they would ever show us like Yularen's process of like transitioning over to the Empire. But yeah, because Tom Kane, I don't know that they would.
I mean, people always ask about him. Like, was he cool with the murder of the Jedi and all that? And it's like, I mean, I think people want to think the best of Yularen, but I think he was probably cool with it.
Yeah, I mean, Panaka was pretty much the same, right? I don't know how. So, and look what happened to him, poor guy.
Tom Strand, thanks so much for the super chat. Sky Kamino gave me Battlestar. All of this has happened before, and all will happen again vibes. Star Wars isn't cyclical time, but definitely was foreshadowing.
Oh, I get that kind of vibe from Star Wars all the time. Star Wars definitely has cycles of just the dark side rises and the light side beats it, and the dark side rises and the light side beats it. It's like over and over again.
Yeah.
So there's a reason we love Battlestar Galactica. Ed Minty 39, thank you for the question. Who took Crosshair's chip out? Would the Empire really risk taking it out knowing he may not be so compliant?
See, this question makes me think that it was probably like a complication with his injury. And like while they were working on him, they realized it was defective, or like they just took it out. And yeah, I mean, that is risky if they did just take it out. But maybe I don't know. Maybe he was just like, it's not working, take it out.
I mean, maybe it's like some kind of health risk. Like, oh, if we don't take it out, it's going to melt his brain or something.
Now it's like Buffy.
He's too big of an asset. Let's take it out.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, he's like Spike with the chip in his head. So.
But yeah, I could see him volunteering to take it out too. Just I don't know what assurance you could give to be like, no, I'll be cool, I promise. But
maybe it's another one of those things like I'm trying to prove my loyalty here. It's like, take it out, I'll prove you it's not just the chip talking. It's like, I don't want to prove you this is where I want to be, this is where I'm meant to be type of deal.
Yeah, and if I don't live up, you can execute me or something. Which they did anyway, so they tried to.
Basically, yeah.
And just because we're talking about the chip, Rick Villanueva, what's up? Hey, gang, I was right. Peace out. Yes, you were. We already gave you plenty of credit because of your idea that broke our hearts last week that turned out to be true. So good job.
Ice, thanks so much for the super chat. Also think it's unfair to blame Hunter and the others for Crosshair's situation because they finally understood the chips. Omega was captured and had to lie low. They never really had time to save him. That's kind of true. Like they were so set on protecting Omega from the Empire that they were like, well, we can't go back to Kamino because it's covered in Imperial troops and stuff.
Maybe, but I mean, I agree that all of that happened so fast. The Braca stuff where he got injured and then she's captured and they had to go rescue her. Like all of that happened really fast. But I do think it there were some episodes that made it clear that, okay, some time has passed in between the last episode and this one. So I'm not saying like, yes, we should blame Hunter and Crosshair's fully in the right, but I think that Crosshair has some valid complaints.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got some abandonment issues.
I mean, could they have even at least tried to send him a message, an email or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, dude, you cool?
A carrier pigeon.
Yeah. Carrier porg.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, oh, those probably aren't pigeons in Star Wars. Whatever the equivalent of
Porg, yeah.
pigeon.
D-Train, thanks for the super chat. I want to see a Star Wars movie made by A24. They make the best movies, and more importantly, different movies.
Oh.
I love A24. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do like their movies.
Yeah.
And someone's buying them? Was it Apple?
I was like, please don't say Disney.
One of the big 3 or 4.
Yeah, right.
Either Disney, Apple, Google, or Amazon at this point, right?
All right. All entertainment's going to be made by one of 3 corporations soon.
I always have this joke of like everyone's worried about where like countries lie and all that stuff. It's in the future, it's going to be Disney and Apple and Google fighting for air.
Yeah.
And it's like, what side do you join? I'm fighting for Apple Army.
Which side has Ted Lasso? I hope it's the same one that has Star Wars.
There's a teeny tiny army of Roku people, because Alex, you just told me that Roku's about to come out with a streaming service, and they're like, there's literally dozens of us.
Oh, come on, man. I already can't get like YouTube on my Amazon whatever products, and oh my god.
Evan Fetter, thanks for the super chat. Is it likely that Crosshair lied about his chip? So we talked about this a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Nah. I don't think this is the type of show to play games with its audience so much. If he says that he took his chip out, I think they mean that to hit the way that it hits.
I agree.
Lunatic Vision, thanks for the super chat. Could the Bad Batch season 1 be a setup to one of the batch appearing in the Book of Boba Fett as a mercenary without explaining where the others are? Also, they could mention Omega, or Omega could be the mercenary.
I love that idea.
I think seeing a live action Omega in the Book of Boba Fett would be so badass.
I love that idea. It's so great. Like again, Filoni mixing stories and characters in each shows together. That's an amazing idea.
And Molly's idea of having like a mishmash of all of their armor and stuff. That'd be a good time to do that.
And like, because there's already a lot of just new characters popping up all the time in a show like that, it wouldn't have to be like they wouldn't have to worry about like, oh, what if people didn't watch the Bad Batch? They don't know who Omega is. Doesn't matter for a show like that.
We get Book of Boba in December. Is that correct? And it bleeds into January?
Yeah, they said Christmas, so probably late December is when it's going to start.
Yay.
Next year's going to be crazy.
Next year is so big for Star Wars. I was just talking about it with Nikki. It's like, God, she became a fan at the perfect moment.
We're going to get Book of Boba Fett, Mando season 3, Andor, Kenobi, and Bad Batch. And that's just what we know. There could be, I don't know, like another Visions or something.
That'd be crazy.
And hopefully another Lego special.
I enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Terrifying Tales.
Brandon Winslow, thanks so much for the super chat. What if the beginning of the next episode is a flashback from Crosshair's perspective and we see how he's really felt and what happened with his chip? Oh,
I love that. I love Tarantino storytelling tropes. It's so good. I like that idea.
That would be really twisting the knife if something bad does happen to.
Yeah, and it'd be a lot like Yoda confirming Darth Vader, Luke's father thing. It's like, oh, you think he was lying? Nope. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that if the episode is long. I'm kind of hoping that the last episode is like episode 1 was. Like, give us an hour-long episode.
Like a little mini movie.
Yeah. Let's really stretch this out and make it a fun
Give me
time.
more.
Yes.
Matt Thornton, thank you for the question. Do you think we'll get one last big cameo in the season finale, and if so, who? I'm gonna say no. I'm finally stop guessing. Dryden Voss is gonna save the day at the last second. He's gonna swoop it. I've been championing Dryden Voss in this show.
Oh man,
it'll happen in season 2, but probably not in season 1.
I've been expecting Ahsoka to show up, but also kind of hoping that she doesn't. But it would be... I don't know that I want her to show up in the season finale. She can show up in the next season, maybe.
Yeah. How much of next season possibility, I should say, do you think we see more Jedi in the next season 2? Because that's a whole big like storyline of like Empire and Vader hunting down. Maybe like the Bad Batch helps them hide and stuff like that. I wonder how what the over under on that would be.
I think we're absolutely going to see some Jedi at some point, and I totally agree that the clones now trying to protect the Jedi they attacked would be so sick. So yeah, I think that's likely for next season. I don't think we need any more surprise cameos. Ahsoka in the season finale, like that worked for Rebels because they built to it and they foreshadowed it. It would just come out of the blue now, and it would be like, okay, it's Ahsoka again. Yeah. She's in everything. Got it. Corrupted Hard Drive, thanks for the question. If time skips were to occur, do you think there might be a Thrawn Vanto cameo for additional ties to Rebels?
Ooh.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
That'd be interesting. I'm not going to say no to Thrawn.
Well, considering he's about to come into live action as well, if they were doing a time skip, then yeah.
Yeah, and he worked on that TIE Defender program. Maybe he would come in to work on like the new ships and stuff.
I'm curious if Eli Vanto does come into any kind of like live action or animation. Do they keep that Southern twang accent that he has in the audiobooks? Because I actually really did enjoy that.
I do too. I hope so.
Yeah,
that would be funny. I would not expect them to hold true to whatever voices were put into an audiobook, but that would be funny.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's supposed to be from the boonies of the galaxy, so why not?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Aimless Dreamer, thanks for another super chat. I also wonder how much BS might have been fed to Crosshair by the Imperials about his abandonment by the Bad Batch and Omega, like convincing him that he's dead to them and has been replaced.
I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, that's the Empire's whole thing, right? Like false truths and just doing what looks good on the outside, but being really shady on the inside.
I could also see those, like the recruited troopers kind of giving him a bunch of crap for being a clone and being like, oh, we're going after your buddies, and just giving them a bunch of crap.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that in that third episode where they're just like, clones, man, you're of the past.
The guy, that gets foreshadowed so hard. I'm like, this guy's gonna get offed. He's talking too much trash to not have Crosshair let it go. It's like, no, man, you know who you're talking to? This guy doesn't give any craps about you. I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna die. He's totally gonna die.
So yeah, I think the Empire probably fed him some stuff, but I'm also like, I really want to go back and watch the Braca episodes now, because I think that's the first time they run into Crosshair again. So I want to see. I want to watch it now, just knowing what we know about Crosshair and that he was feeling abandoned and might not necessarily be trying to kill all of them. But he definitely did threaten Omega. So I just want to. I'm going to revisit those.
Yeah.
But that is gonna be it for us today. We have caught up on all of our questions, and I'll look for one more from chat. But while I do that, Andrew, why don't you let everyone know where where people can find you and follow you online.
All right, time to get my radio voice on. Here you go.
All right.
So you can you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Drew Dimalanta, Dimalanta, and on TikTok. Yes, I am addicted to TikTok. At Drew_Dimalanta. We do I know it's not the venue, but a Schmodown podcast on my YouTube channel, Andrew and Nikki, every Monday. We are going to have another general discussion podcast episode of our Radcast coming out later tonight. We've been very lazy about that. I do apologize. But yeah, that's pretty much what we have going on for us.
And of course, the Schmodown itself.
Yes. It is a burden.
You can show it off. I was...
yeah.
It's just off screen.
It's just off screen. It's right here. Don't worry. It's not. It's
well,
here.
I made him, Molly, when you were still getting your microphone going. I was like, where's the belt?
Where's the belt?
Is it safe?
Yeah. What did you do with the belt?
Yeah, no, I didn't want to have it in frame. It's like, this is not the place for it. It's a Star Wars show. It's not a Schmodown show. So yeah.
I can't believe you lost it. All right. Here we go. One last question. David James, will there be a connection between War of the Bounty Hunters and Bad Batch and Book of Boba Fett? I think it should occur. I'm trying to think if there's anything with War of the Bounty Hunters right now, other than the fact that there are mercenaries around, but I can't think of anything direct
Huts.
with War of the Bounty Hunters. Well, yeah.
The idea that Huts are going to be in Book of Boba Fett.
Oh yeah,
Would
that's right.
love that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, War of the Bounty Hunters has to do with the resurgence of Crimson Dawn, and we're gonna see Crimson Dawn in season 2 of the Bad Batch for sure.
Oh,
for sure.
That's gonna be amazing. That's gonna be so cool.
I planted my flag in season 1 and it didn't happen, probably. So I'll plant my flag in season 2. Crimson Dawn, season 2 of the Bad Batch, it's happening. But that is going to be it for us today. Thank you all for watching and chatting about this episode with us and sending in your super chats and questions. Molly and I will see you next Wednesday to keep on building that Lego Cantina. And then next week is the last episode of the Clone Zone for this year. But it'll be back next year. And next week we've got Steel Wars joining us. So
nice.
Yeah. Thank you all for watching, and may the Force be with you, and we'll see you later.
Bye.